So I want to address this ridiculous notion that's been parroted all around campuses all across the nation here in the United States, where you need to believe, not with no proof, any accusation of anything that any victim says about anybody. The reason I want to address this is from popular cases like the Bill Cosby case to just your random pleb getting accused by another random pleb. Nobody knows who any of these people are. No situation should be different, even though one is in the mainstream. See, I don't think that Bill Cosby is guilty until a jury of his peers say he is guilty. Now, I don't think that it would be fair to say that the victim does not have a say in his guilt, but they do that through their testimony in court. That is how you determine the guilt of somebody, not by a plurality of people saying he's guilty. These people aren't jurors. Just if 70 people say, yes, he did it, that doesn't make it any more correct. That's like if everybody gets a question wrong on an exam, that does not mean the question is wrong, that means you all got it wrong. Now, was the question unfair? Well, for an exam, that example might apply, but for this situation, probably not. So just if 70 people say he's guilty has the same weight as anybody using the same argument, whether it is the president using the argument, Bill Cosby using the argument, some pleb on the streets with not even a high school diploma using the argument, 400 people using the argument, every past president of the United States resurrected using the argument, it doesn't give it any more merit if it is the same argument. It doesn't matter who is saying it, why they're saying it. Well, maybe why they're saying it if they have a conflict of interest, but other than that, the argument has no more merit, and he is not and Bill Cosby specifically is not guilty until a court proves him to be guilty. Now, I'm not going to be someone that says they like rapists. If he's guilty, I mean, I want him to go to prison then. Like, sure, he'll probably die there, but that's no more dignity than he deserves if he did it. So, I don't think that just because you're a celebrity, therefore entitles you to more dignity after being atrocious. But at the same time, people seem to forget the fundamental rule of innocent until proven guilty. The reason that this fundamental rule is important is that if you do not believe in innocent until proven guilty, then you have to believe in guilty until proven innocent. As people have said before, notably people like, I don't know, like Sargon of Akkad maybe, I believe he said this, is if you have guilty until proven innocent, you have a flawed system that sometimes works correctly, whereas innocent until proven guilty is a good system that sometimes works incorrectly. The fundamental difference is this system, innocent until proven guilty, always guarantees justice in the way that no innocent man should ever be convicted, whereas the other one, guilty until proven innocent, guarantees a system where there is a quite large chance, or maybe even if there's just a small chance, you have to prove a negative, which is not only logically impossible, but also quite ridiculous to put the burden of proof on the other person. If I ask someone on the street, were you not somewhere yesterday? It is so hard for them to prove that they were not somewhere. The only way they can prove that they were not somewhere is to prove that they were somewhere else. But the thing is if you don't have, like, if you weren't anywhere in particular, or if you were at the place where it's said to be happening, like, let's say someone accuses you of roofing drinks at a club. If you were at the club, how are you supposed to prove you didn't do it? There is no way for you to be like, no, I didn't do it. Okay, prove it. How? You could try and prove that you didn't have access, but what if someone gave it to you at the club? There's so many variables they could just keep bringing something up and asking you to prove it. You just can't. But if they say, but if you ask them, prove I was the one roofing the drinks. Now they have a tall order, but it is possible if you were the one that did it, because you could have witnesses. They saw you do it. You could have people saw you take somebody away that looked like they had been roofied. Because if you're just roofing drinks and then like leaving people, I don't. That's kind of would defeat the point. I'm assuming if you're roofing drinks, you're like gonna do something to somebody. Either way, somebody would see it. If you raped someone, there's usually evidence. You can get a rape kit on the person. Lots of things you can do to prove that somebody did something. And the reason I have this picture over here that I found, credits to whoever made this, I don't remember, but is that everyone I've talked to has read the book To Kill a Mockingbird, but it seems like nobody has actually read it. Like they read the words and nobody remembered. The whole point was that it was quite obvious that Tom Robinson could not have been the person that did this from any of the testimony that was described. If you get punched in the right eye and somebody that does not have a functioning left hand, it will be very difficult to make a maneuver where you punch with your right hand to hit somebody on the right side of their face. Unless, like, coming from the front. If you come from the side with your right arm, then I guess you could hit them in the right eye. But assuming you are facing each other, it would be pretty hard. And usually, if it was a violent confrontation, usually you look at the person confronting them and you don't stand to the side. That would be kind of weird. It wouldn't be very effective. Most people wouldn't do that. So it was obviously known that this man did not do it, but he was a black man. This is 1930. Atticus Finch's defense was like pretty much watertight, and there's like literally no way, but they just believed the woman because she was white, he was black. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, but it was more that they didn't want Tom Robinson, to go free because of he said that he felt sorry for the white woman because he noticed she was being abused and such like that, and he pitied her, and they didn't want anyone to go free that said they could pity a white man if they were not one. So there's a little bit of that, but mostly it was just like, she's a white woman, we gotta believe her. I mean, come on, guys, like, this Negro, it's like getting all uppity over here, and it's like, but he didn't do anything. It's like, nah, dude, look at the color of his skin, he obviously did it. But that's what you're actually advocating for if you say that we don't need proof. You're advocating for the same tactics that segregationists and racists use to oppress blacks. You're literally advocating for somebody to go, oh, Tom Robinson raped me, put him in jail. You're advocating for those people. You could even say something as ridiculous as Tom Robinson assaulted me, therefore cut off his hands, therefore he can never assault again. That is the kind of things that you are advocating for, because maybe teaching him not to assault didn't work, so we'll just stop him from ever assaulting again. It's the kind of weird, regressive taking things back, where I've actually noticed the political opinions of these people reflect the political opinions of things like In To Kill a Mockingbird. That these books are set about issues that happened a long time ago and written about issues that happened a long time ago. And everyone's being made to read them, but the issues are becoming even more relevant and more prevalent. It's frankly ridiculous that you would be forced to read To Kill a Mockingbird and then act out the same thing, and be forced to read The Crucible and learn about McCarthyism, and then go on Twitter witch hunts. I don't understand how you could read and see how bad these things were and how badly they impacted the populace and then still agree with them. It's like the videos when people are asked about communism and then they go and try and tell like ex-Soviet subjects that they're actually wrong about communism and actually they know better and communism did work and we should do it again. And there were no purges, even though there's like people that said I lived through the purge. These people are like Holocaust deniers, only for some reason they don't have a bad rap because people only care about the Holocaust. They don't care about the people that died in the Great Leap Forward or the people that died under other oppressive regimes. It's quite ridiculous that people would just so blatantly say, no, we should return to Maoism, or, you know, we should, judge people on the color of their skin and not the content of their character. Like, why would we give scholarships based on merit when we can give them based on race, or gender, or other innate characteristics like sexuality? Like, why would that matter? We want the best and the brightest students, not the most black or the most Asian or the most white or the most male or the most female students. I don't see what the point is in trying to make people, like, make a populace become a certain demographic makeup for just this, like, the point of having it be that way. Just like I don't understand why we should make guilty until proven innocent just because it would be more convenient for the people that want to blame the people they don't like or to accuse them of raping them or something like that. Like, why would you ever think that it would be a good idea to institute a system in which any woman can accuse any man of anything and they go to prison, and in states that have capital punishment, if it was deemed a bad enough crime, like let's say 70 women came out and said he was a serial rapist, they execute him without question. That is the kind of stuff that happened in the Bronze Age, and it happened in communist regimes when your neighbors would tell you that you were committing wrongthink and you needed to die. Like, oh, is anyone committing wrongthink over here? Oh, that guy is. Alright, we're gonna take him out back to the woods. Ah, my enemy is gone. This is the kind of idea that is, like, being perpetuated that terrifies me. That somebody is just going to come in and be like, actually, you've committed wrongthink. Prepare to die. And I'm going to be like, well, I wish I had done more with my life then. If I knew I was going to get executed for my beliefs, I would have been more productive and studied harder in school, maybe, even though I'd study hard enough anyways. But before I get a little bit too ranty, I just want to address one more point, and that is if you have if you advocate for something, you best know the historical context of what you are advocating for. If you advocate for black only safe spaces, you must understand that this is the same thing as having colored spaces in Arkansas and stuff like that. If you advocate for black only spaces in schools and black only classrooms, you're advocating for the same thing that the segregationists do. And when your virtue, or when what you are advocating for and what you virtue in people is the same thing as the KKK, you might want to rethink your position because it's probably wrong. Same with if you believe that, for example, that blacks should get paid less, it is just as bad as people that believe whites should get paid less or women should get paid less. If you do not believe in equality as per equality of opportunity, you do not believe in equality in this regard. If you believe in equality of outcome, then you believe in giving people crutches and upper hands. It would be the same thing as saying, for equality of outcome, that you should give more money to someone regardless of their merit, which is intrinsically racist. It doesn't matter what color somebody is, and also calling people of color is like it's just a reversal of colored people, and anyone who thinks it's not is frankly an idiot. Just like the video title of this video could, if it's like, I don't know what the title is going to be. This is a bad example. I will think of something real quick. Just like if you call the knife of butter spreading is the same as a butter knife, or the bottle of water is the same as a water bottle. Although in this context, sometimes a water bottle is referred to as not having water in it at the time, but you get the same thing. And so this weird reversal of colored people, I don't understand. Like, if you're gonna call them coloreds, just go outright that you're a segregationist. Like, all the undertones are there that these people are segregationists. We want black only spaces and we call them coloreds. I don't get it. Like, how does nobody else seem to notice this? Is like incredibly awful. But as I was saying, with equality of opportunity and equality of outcome, is it's the same problem that's happening in schools right now with intellectual merit. You get essentially, we need to make it so that everyone can pass, regardless of instead of creating the most educated populace, which may involve leaving people behind. It's a shame that we don't all have the same IQ, and people are like, oh, we're all born equal. We are all born equal in terms of rights, but we are not all born equal with the same traits. It would be ludicrous to say that someone like Usain Bolt has no talent at all, and he was just trained really hard, because we all know from his attitude that that is indeed not true. He did train really hard, but that's not. He's also cocky, and he knows he has talent. Like everyone, like he knows that he's talented. Same with the reason that everyone is not Einstein, even if they try to be Einstein. It doesn't work like that. Some people are dealt worse cards in life, and there's no reroll button when you get assigned your traits at birth. If this was such a thing as anyone could just be anything they wanted to be, then all of the people in the past that were oppressed for being gay or something like that would just not be. Duh. Like, oh, this is a really horrible thing, and I really hate that all these people like spit at me and throw rocks at me for it. Let me just remove this trait from myself, because that would be really, really quite convenient. If it worked like that, everyone would do it, and it wouldn't make any sense. And all of these like rights movements, all the black people would just become white if it was that simple. But sometimes you're born into an unequal lot, and it is sucky. But to have equality of opportunity does not mean that somebody who is born poor, or maybe in the 60s if you were born black and you have all these disadvantages because your family is a black family and the civil rights movement's just about to like hit home, then maybe there is, some things that can be given to you to make sure that your opportunities are the same. Equality of opportunity does not mean that there is no affirmative action. It just means that the affirmative action is only to give it equal playing field. Like, if you, let's say, couldn't afford your books for school, they buy your books for you. But what they don't do is then pay for a tutor for you as well because your parents aren't educated. No, because nobody else gets a tutor either. It just happens that the people could buy their books, bought their books already with their own money, but you couldn't afford it, and you should still have the opportunity to have books. Well, maybe the other kids can afford a tutor. A tutor is not necessary, and therefore it should not be afforded to you. And that is kind of how I feel on that. And now this video is not too long, so I'll go into one other point, and that is, with our modern education system, you have all of these people that seem to be not actually that busy, despite complaining about how busy they are. People are planning a 12-hour sit on the mall here at the University of Maryland, where of course there's going to be entertainment and stuff, because sitting for 12 hours, like for something you believe in, would be too hard. So we'll have food and games and entertainment too. Ridiculous. To protest rape and mostly Bill Cosby, because we need to believe people that say things, even if they're not true. You should listen and believe when creationists tell you everything you need to know about how the world works, and that it's only 2,000 years old, or 4,000, or whatever the number is that's like young Earth creation is. That's patently ridiculous, considering we've like found evidence of things that are like older than that are made by people. So how could that even be true? But either way, the idea of just listening to people and then taking their word for it would be nice if these things called liars didn't exist. This is like a weird perfect society utopian approximation kind of thing where you just take people's word for it, because that would be nice and it makes you feel good to just be able to trust everyone. But there's a lot of people that if you trust them, they'll screw you over. Like there's people like maybe you trust them to do your group project on time and they don't do it, and you're like, you just did your part and you never checked. Sometimes you gotta go before your group project and just do it yourself if it's not done, because you don't want to get a bad grade, do you? And some group project people may abuse that, but that's something you just gotta live with. And with education, there's all these people that are just not busy. They're just being activists, and they're not even all that educated. Because I ask them about things like this, and usually I just get shunned away. Like, get this guy out of here. Like, can someone call security or something? I'm not even that obnoxious. I'm just like, can I ask you a question? And I just get like attacked and like, or if I like post something on Yik Yak where I'm just like, hey, I got a question, and just downvote until it's gone. It's like, okay, questions not allowed, rational thinking not allowed. So all these like listen and believe, like apparently some fraternity on campus raped a bunch of people. Nobody's convicted. Fraternity's still here. There's no real evidence other than like girls said that happened to them 5 years ago. Somebody pointed out that why are there people that are on campus still, if they were raped here 5 years ago, they should have either A, graduated, logical thing to have happened, especially assuming they, even if they're freshmen, that's like 5 year degree, that would be, it happens, but that's assuming they're all freshmen. If it was a junior, then why are you still here? And especially, why would you stay here for 5 more years if you had been violently assaulted here with the same fraternity on campus, with your rapist still on campus, with no justice brought to him? Why would you stay here? I would leave. If that happened to me, I would find a different university to go to. And I'm sure I could, like, con the university into paying for me. If I was a woman. If I got raped and I was a man. Like, if, like, I got, like, sodomized at a fraternity party or something, I'm sure no one would give a fuck. Like, honestly, nobody would care. Probably couldn't even get the police to do anything about it. I'm sure my family would probably laugh at me. Actually, my mom would probably take it seriously. Yeah, my dad, like, I guess my parents would, and like, they would try and do something about it, but I don't think like it would be the same as if like my sister got raped or something. Something tells me they'd be like that kind of supportive, but like at the same time they would like they wouldn't like fly out here and like come and like start like asking the university to expel people or something like that. I bet they would if it was my sister. I bet they would go to her university and be like, the justice needs to be done here, and we will ensure our daughter is safe or something like that. For some reason, I feel like they would like phone it in for me. Maybe that's just like a personal insecurity or something, but I don't really think that society would take it nearly as seriously if something happened to me as if it would happen to a woman. But there's just a weird inclination here that like kind of like when men say I was, abused. People are like, yeah, but there's women that get abused too. I'm like, okay, that doesn't not an argument for why we should not care about this person, but and it's just this weird culture on campus where everyone doesn't seem to be very busy, but they all seem to be really involved in like some weird like advocacy that's doesn't make any sense or and seems to be completely morally bankrupt and is basically like they're advocating for the return of the KKK, and like people are like drawing their own swastikas and saying they're like being attacked by white supremacists when they draw the swastika wrong. Because for some reason, it's really hard for people to draw a swastika correctly because they like don't do the Nazi swastika. They'll do it like where it's not at the angle, or they'll do it backwards, or they'll like do it upside down or something. It's like, how do you like? Because it's obviously like they've never done it before. Because they're not actually white supremacists. If you were like, feel like if you like were a neo-Nazi, you would get it right. Like if you were a white supremacist, you'd get the swastika right. But if you're just trying to be a victim, you draw it wrong. Because you don't know any better. Because you're dumb. And apparently, college students are some of the most uneducated people on the planet. Quite impressive, actually. Have a secondary education and you don't actually know anything about the world or haven't actually learned any history and don't actually know anything about politics or religion or anything like that. And so we just, with this whole thing, I guess to summarize, is we just have the failure, complete and utter failure of the education system because all of these people have access to all of this material where they were supposed to learn all of these lessons about the world and they were supposed to understand the historical context of all of these ideas and stuff, and they read it and they were forced to read it probably. Like I was forced to read To Kill a Mockingbird. Wasn't a huge fan, but I still remember the message. I remember that you feel that like outrage when Tom Robinson gets convicted anyways because you know it's wrong. And that's what it was supposed to teach you is this is wrong. But apparently people think that's correct. Apparently when Tom Robinson was convicted, all of these progressive people are like, yeah, dude, fucking Negroes, hate them all. Get convicted, you fuck. And I was just like, I can't. It's just baffling to me how people could be like, support this. You are supporting the conviction whenever you say you should never need proof to believe a rape victim, no matter the circumstances. You are saying Tom Robinson should have been convicted and the 12 white jurors were correct. All of these people were correct. You are saying Jim Crow was correct. That is what you were saying when you believe him. Like, that these people are monsters and all rapists are. All accused rapists. Not even like guilty rapists are monsters. Just anyone who's accused is a monster. And therefore, they deserve anything you can give them, even if they didn't do it. Even if they had actually been the one who was stopping a real rapist from occurring. If there was some confusion on the victim, they just pointed to the wrong guy. I bet you would these people would still go after him. And even if the victim cleared it up later, this guy's reputation would be ruined. Even though he saved this girl. Like, let's take this. I guess I'll just explain this hypothetical situation real quick. It's just if a man attempts raping a woman in an alleyway, and another man, and it is a dark alleyway, so the victim doesn't really see a good, clear picture of either of the men. Another man comes, beats the shit out of the other guy, and defends this woman, but he goes and takes the rapist to the police station instead of helping the victim, and the victim later accuses the wrong guy because she doesn't remember which one of it did it of being the rapist, and the other and maybe there's some confusion at the police station, so the actual rapist, they don't know who it was, they don't remember, or like maybe the guy had to sit in jail for the night, but they didn't have enough evidence or anything, didn't get his name, didn't have any ID or something, so they don't know, the police don't know who it was either that got turned into the jail. So when the story becomes clear who it actually was, the police find the records they misplaced or something, this guy's life, that was the actual savior, is going to be ruined by these people online. They will smear him. They'll say he's a rapist. They will tell his employer. He'll lose his job. He'll lose all these things. No one will ever talk to him again for trying to save someone. And that's when you get people. That's when you get like what is it called? Men checking out of society, where they're just like, I don't, I just don't wanna. I'm just gonna, got my 3DS, just gonna play in my room all day, never gonna leave. Talking to people is overrated, just gonna be a hermit. Go to work, I'll do what I want to do, and that's it. I'm not gonna talk to anyone else, not gonna talk to anyone at work, not gonna go on dates, not gonna talk to women, especially not women. Talk to my family minimum to seem like a normal human being. Gonna, maybe not delete all my social media, and I'm just gonna, sit on the couch all day, watch Netflix, and then go to work, and that's gonna be my life, because, I'm just not interested anymore. Because, these people, if they try to do the right thing, they can never do the right thing enough. It's never good enough for anybody to try and do the right thing. There's a chance that, it's like the Good Samaritan law. If you do CPR wrong, you might still get convicted anyways, even though there's Good Samaritan laws, because you know what, if you just, even if you tried, if you accidentally looked like you might have actually killed them instead of saving them, and if you had not done anything, it would have been better, you can still get convicted, even with Good Samaritan laws. It's like, the same problem. People don't want to help anymore. They just don't, because they're just afraid. Like, you're going to sue, and so, I've been faced with that situation before where luckily nothing bad happened, but I thought a guy was like passed out. Like talked to him and stuff like that, but he he wasn't actually he's just like like had his hand on his chest and he was slumped by a tree and he was just sleeping like that. So it was all good, but I was like, God, if I had to do CPR on this guy, I don't know. I'm qualified to do CPR, but I'm not really sure that I'm not a huge guy, so I'm not really sure if I'd be able to. He was a pretty big guy, so it would have been pretty hard for me. But also it's like, God, if this guy is just like, you know, he's like actually like pretty fine, maybe he's just only been unconscious for a few minutes or something. Or maybe he's just like really deep sleeper, and when I start doing CPR, I like break a rib or something, or I accidentally set his heartbeat off pace. Then you create that fear where it's like maybe I should just not do anything. Like, they'll say that I won't get in any trouble because I'm technically not formally trained in CPR, so I'm not legally obligated to help. I'm supposed to call the police, but there was no one around. I could have just said I didn't never saw him or didn't notice him when I walked by. And it creates this weird feeling of doubt where you're like, I don't know if I should do the right thing because the consequences for doing the right thing, there might actually be some, even though it's the right thing to do. Like, luckily, summoned up the courage to go wake this guy up, like, you okay? You got a hand on your heart, and he's like, oh, sorry, I was asleep. But, I was like, I was a little bit afraid. It's like, if I do CPR on this guy and I like break his rib or something, is he gonna sue me? Or is like, or am I gonna hurt him if I do, trying to help him? Or, maybe I should just, maybe even though I know how to do CPR, maybe I should just, wait for the paramedics. And it's this weird feeling where you get people that don't really have any interest in doing the right thing anymore because people are so afraid of being called things or being labeled. Like what if a cop, for example, I know this is getting long, but what if a cop, for example, goes and he tries to stop a fight between like a black guy and a white guy, and the black guy is the one who started it. So he's gonna like go after the black guy because he's being more aggressive. Maybe the white guy even started, but the black guy's winning, and people are gonna accuse him of being racist if he pins down the black guy and not the white guy, even though the white guy's is getting his shit kicked in. This black guy's so much stronger, something like that. This white guy's just drunk or something, and the black guy's not. Anything. He's afraid that he's gonna get called a racist now, this cop. And so sometimes, I bet for cops it's the same. But I respect cops. I bet they're strong enough will to be like, you know what, I'm gonna do the right thing, and I'm gonna stop the fight. Hopefully, I don't have to like pin anyone down or anything. But if it comes to that, he'd probably, you know, and it's like, but what if he pins down the black guy and breaks his arm? Racist cop. But if he it's like, why didn't you pin down the white guy? You could have stopped the fight that way. It's like, well, the white guy was losing. Or, let's say, there's a man getting the shit kicked out of him by a woman, and he's just sitting there because, men aren't allowed to hit girls. And if the man hits back, he's probably going to get arrested. So the man's just, like, sitting there taking it. He's bloody, his face is all bruised, black eye, just bloody, girl smashing head against the concrete. This guy's, like, dying. And he's just like, you know what, I'm a pacifist, I'm not going to do anything. And the cops, like, tackles the woman. Suddenly he's a sexist. And I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, all these, like, I know these are hypothetical situations, but this is why people have doubt, is because of these people. These people create such a culture of fear that people are afraid to do what on normal instinct would be the right thing to do, because there is a fear that treating people equally is actually not equal, and it is sexist and racist to do so, to hold people to the same standards. Like, if you hold, and because I'm someone that would advocate for like color blindness and I guess gender blindness. I don't know what the term for that would be, but general egalitarian principles where you're just like, you know what? If you're a black guy, I don't care. If you're an Asian guy, I don't care. If you're a white guy, I don't care. Like, I made this joke the other day. It's like, actually, the other day I was the only white guy in there. I was a room full of Asians. White guy there. It actually happens to me a lot. I don't know why. All gamers are either white or Asian. Sometimes black if it's like console. That's the only thing I noticed. I don't tend to meet black gamers on Steam. I don't know why. They're always like Europeans or Asians or white. But on console, I met a lot of black people. I don't know what that's all about. No idea. Just random anecdote. Probably doesn't mean anything at all. But especially Call of Duty. Or maybe it was just a bunch of racists that use the N word a lot. But I don't know. I just assume like if you like used like the N word a lot talking to the other people in your like Xbox Live party, you probably weren't like white because that's not usually a white thing to do. But I guess you could just be a massive racist or something. I don't know. But that tangent aside, I think that it's important to just look at the content of your character. Like my roommates for next semester, I'm pretty sure I'm probably gonna be the only white guy. I don't know. One of them I don't know. The other two are Asian, so there's a good chance I could be the only white guy in my room, and I chose that like willingly. The other guy was kind of a late addition. I have never met him before, but I don't know. He could be anything. Just don't really care. But because it was like a friend of one of the roommates. I don't actually know. I just know of him. Like I've seen him before, but I don't actually know him. There's only one of the roommates I know. But uh, anyways, like I just don't care about race, and I don't see why people care about gender either. I don't get it. Like I think I've told this anecdote in another video before, but I don't think I've uploaded the video where I care about merit, and there's nothing that you can ever convince me to say that a woman is worse if she is good and a woman is better if she is bad. Like, I guess that sounds confusing when I say it like that. If she's like a bad, like, has like little merit, you can't convince me that she is somehow as good as me when she has no merit, but you can never convince me that a woman with a lot of merit is somehow bad. There's women I look up to, and there's men I look up to, and there's black men I looked up to. Like, I really look up to Martin Luther King Jr., like, one of my personal heroes, because I always believed in treating people only on the content of their character and what they do. Only thing that should matter. Like, I don't see, like, why it would matter the color of their skin. I don't even I try not to do it, but sometimes like really ignorant people bother me, and it's not a character flaw necessarily to just be dumb or uneducated, in my opinion. Like, because sometimes you just can't control if you're just kind of dumb, like, or you're just a little slow, or you're a little uneducated. Like, sometimes you can't control that stuff. Now, if you're willfully ignorant, that is different. I hate those people. But if you're like, you're just dumb or you're ignorant because you've never been exposed to something before, that like is fine with me. Dunning-Kruger effect really bothers me. I hate people are. I know I do it too sometimes, but I'm an expert. But that should be enough for this. And thank you for listening, and have a nice day.